Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Shawn Feurer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Inner Blueprint, the podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Feurer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. And I said it again, I'm not the host, you guys. I'm the co-host because we've got the beautiful, the lovely, the radiant Miss Kaitlyn Feurer with me today. And as always, welcome, Kaitlyn.
Thank you.
You should just start doing the intro so I don't mess it up anymore. How about that?
I don't know if I can say hello every time.
I've heard you. Hello. All right, you guys, welcome back to another episode. As we always say, this podcast is designed specifically for the home improvement industry, but also anyone and everyone that's interested in thinking better thoughts to get better results. And in that thought, I'm so excited to welcome our guest to the show today because I've known this gentleman for a long time. He's not only a client, he's a dear friend of ours. And when we first started working with him on mindset, I have to be honest, and I've shared this with him, I wasn't sure how much benefit he was going to get because this gentleman already had a successful business. He has a beautiful wife. He's got a happy, healthy body, at least from the outside. It appeared that way to me. He's got great style.
The best.
He's a good golfer. I mean, what else, Kaitlyn?
And always was in a great mood, just very, very positive person. I remember when we were going to get this person, I was like, seriously? Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yes. So from his bio here, the company he is the CEO of, he embodies the qualities of an intelligent leader with unwavering integrity. And I'll have to second that. This man has a ton of integrity. He is known to be dedicated, honest, and he earns the respect and admiration from everybody around him by working alongside them. And he's one of those leaders that leads by example. He's often described as honorable and committed, professional, ensuring that his actions align with the best interest of not only his customers, but his employees, his teammates, and the community as a whole. And I don't know if we'll get into it today, but I know he does a lot of work trying to give back, not just to the community, but everything that he does. His unwavering commitment to providing the highest level of quality and absolute customer satisfaction sets the standard for the entire organization. So with that being said, let's welcome Sean Gerathy of Absolute Window to Inner Blueprint. What's up, Shawn?
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, we're so excited to have you.
Thanks for the
intro.
intro.
Yes.
It's a good one.
That's the cool thing is people like you, Shawn, they're easy to introduce.
Yep. I mean, we could have just done that. That could have been the whole episode is just us talking about how great you are before we even welcome you on.
So let's dive into it because as I said in the intro, Shawn, from all appearances, you had pretty good mindset when we first met. And as we started working together with mindset, I love how you've shared it. If you want to go ahead and share it now. I mean, had you heard of working on your mindset before us?
No, I mean, I didn't even know what mindset was. And when I first heard about, doing the lessons over and over, I'm like, this will be easy. I'll just be one and done and figure this thing out. And then when you start getting into it, it's like, for me, this is just something that I have to do every day and probably for the rest of my life. I think for me, because it's taken at least 50 years, because I think I've been working with you guys for 3 or 4 years now. Mm-hmm. So 50 years to totally screw my mind up to what it was thinking before. I mean, it's not going to take 50 years to change it, but it's not going to happen overnight. So for me, I need it every day. Well, and I listen to A New Day every day.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you for listening, man.
Well, and I just have to point out, it's so funny. Anybody watching this right now is going, what do you mean 50 years? Look at this guy. He's 30. No one would ever believe that you are even close to the age of 50. I mean, I still don't. I know I until I see your birth certificate, Shawn, I just am going to keep fighting you on it.
Well, the cool thing is you don't age. I mean, I get told that too. So I can say I feel like I look younger today than when I started my mindset journey. Saying positive things to yourself and thinking better thoughts, it doesn't just feel good. It really literally looks good on you, right?
Yeah. I mean, Shawn, you
Well,
really
I know
are.
your biceps are bigger, Shawn.
I know. Actually, I was just wondering this. I just put this on before the episode. I'm like, I think my shirt shrunk. Either that or the curls are finally paying off.
I don't shrink your clothes. But yeah, Shawn, I think, you are. And it's so funny because when we first started working with you and I found out your age, I was like, no, I didn't hear that right. There's no way. And Shawn's like, no, yeah, like he's my age. And I was like, well, it makes sense for you because you look so young. So I guess that does make sense. But it's so funny because I look at pictures all the time, they'll show up in my Time Hop app. And so it'll show from, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. And I'm like, how is he aging in reverse? Like you look better and younger now than you did when you first started working with us. And I think that's so true with all the guys in Solaritus, honestly. But
No,
very
yeah,
much so with you.
we had a picture pop up a few years ago of Jason and Brett, and everybody looks better. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody looks like they're in better shape.
Yep.
They look like they're happier,
They look
healthier.
younger.
And those are all the things we say to ourselves every day, right?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, everybody in the group is definitely, grown, and everybody is happier, more positive. I mean, I love that group, and holding each other accountable has been a big win for me.
Yeah. So, if you're okay, let's dive into a couple of things. 'Cause I know you've had some huge wins personally, professionally, but the biggest one for me that's been so cool to just watch, and you've done all the work here. I know you've used some of our mindset principles, but can we talk about your health and wellness and kind of how you had these stomach issues that were chronic and most of your life, and how with the power of your mind, really, you've gone to work and reversed it?
Sure. Yeah, about 3 years ago, I found out that I had some real bad stomach issues. I went for some life insurance, and long story short, 20 years after my life insurance kind of got to its 20-year period, they said you need to stop drinking. And I'm like, stop drinking? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I have a couple beers on the golf course. And they're like, no, you need to quit out the hard alcohol. And I'm like, well, I don't drink hard alcohol. And they're like, well, that's not what your test shows. And I'm like, I don't really care what my test shows. I can tell you that I'm not drinking. They were talking gallons of like vodka a day. And I'm like, no. So I went to another doctor, and they said, all of your intestines are inflamed from all the food you're eating. So I get to the point where I'm allergic to 10 different things, and, simple things like eggs and dairy and soy and corn and yeast and gluten. And so, I mean, the doctor basically came back to me and she said, well, you're allergic to everything. So let's figure out if we can figure out what you can eat. And, and so for me, I could never finish a meal. It doesn't matter if it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I would never finish a meal, and I would have to go to the restroom right away. So it was just something I lived with for 40 something, 50 years, and just never realized it. And even in my family, like my mom to this day is like, yep, we just have bad stomachs in our family, so that's what was told to me. So I was just like, all right, well, I just guess I got to go to the bathroom 6, 7, 8 times a day. And I couldn't keep that nutrition in me, and met with a couple of different doctors, and I'm doing some, this podcast everybody will understand, but the woo-woo side of it, and doing the kinesiology and muscle testing. And I mean, when I walked into my acupuncture and I saw the word mindset and grateful and believe and all the same words that I've grown accustomed to love and say every single day, I was just like, boy, I'm in the right place. So fast forward 3 years, and I can have everything that I couldn't have. I can eat a regular meal. I choose not to eat gluten, but I can eat anything that I want. And the last item, which I've never had a cup of coffee, is coffee. That's on the list. So, and Kaitlyn, with everything you guys cook, you guys had to make special meals just for me, which I am very grateful for that. But now I'm able to eat like the rest of the Solaritus.
It was actually really amazing to me when you were like, I'm allergic to all these foods, because I had taken a food allergy test previously too. And I was like, well, I have all these same issues that Shawn has. Like, if I eat something, like it's not staying in me very long, or I'm getting sick, or I'm breaking out in hives, or I'm breaking out like in acne, and it was so bad. And so it was so funny because you don't know this, but you really inspired me. Like, I need to be eating better too, because I need to be taking these things seriously as well. And if I can do it for Shawn, I can do it for myself. I mean, and there are a lot of things, you know, that you do not realize how much of the things you buy have corn in them, whether it's cornstarch, corn syrup, corn powder, like anything. So it's been so actually kind of fun. You know, Gerathy and I were kind of sad the last few retreats. We're like, oh my gosh, where's the challenge? The challenge is gone. We don't have to find all these like special things anymore.
Well, and for listeners, I really want you to think about that, because there's more than just health and wellness here. Because for one, Shawn struggled with this his whole life, like, and literally just got accustomed that when I eat, I get sick and I have to use the restroom. And for some of us, we weren't told by our mom that was bad stomachs, but we were told that we weren't enough, or that scarcity was just a thing. And you know, just like anything in mindset, it can be generational. And luckily, like, Shawn had the, you know, strength and the questioning to say, no, I want to figure out something better. And not only think about how uncomfortable that was, but and Kaitlyn, I mean, he literally brought us a business card that he would pass out at restaurants. Like, he had gotten accustomed to, I'm allergic to these foods, and handed out to the chef at the restaurant or to our retreats. And then and I don't know if you're willing to share a little bit, because she literally would do muscle testing and then work up your resistance to the allergy of the food. Is that right? If I understand it correctly?
Yeah. So what she'll do is, like, the last one we worked on was peanut. So with everything out there, there's a frequency for every single item in the world, whether it's a peanut, corn starch, corn syrup, all of those. And so she'll take a like water infused peanut in a little glass tube, and you hold it in your left hand, and you take your right hand and you put your thumb down, and she pushes up against it, and she doesn't say a word, but she asks my body, like, and my mind, if is this peanut, and I don't even know, I don't ask her what she asks me, but
Yeah.
I can tell you that my hand goes to the ground when it's something that I can't handle, or the negative, or it just doesn't work with my body. And I've even asked her, I'm like, I mean, I get it, you're strong and everything, but I think I can overpower you. Is there a way that I can manipulate this system? And she said, go ahead and try. And sure enough, she gets me every single time. And it's like, so I've worked through all these allergies. And then so the way the acupuncture and the programs is NAET, it's NAET. And the way it works is that you don't have whatever the item is, in this case peanut, so don't have any peanut for 25 hours. And I guess the ancient Chinese medicine or whatever says that it takes 24 hours to get out of your system, and then they add an extra hour just in case. And so then I go back week after week, and like this Friday she'll check peanut again, and I'm probably going to be fine, but like I have with everything. And then, so now I can have peanut. Yeah. It's just amazing.
It really
like
is. It's amazing.
Yeah. Like I couldn't have eggs before, and I have eggs like all the time now. And and even I actually, first time in 3 years, I purposely had 2 little cheese curds at my tiki that had gluten in it, and it was no effect whatsoever. So I'm not going to do that, because I know gluten's bad for you. But if I miss, or I feel like just doing one little thing or having a piece of chocolate or something, I can do that and not really have any worries. I mean, there's a lot of vitamins that I take that work on the gut and stuff like that. So there's a whole program that I'm actually working with one of Tommy Mello's nutritionalist doctor. I work with closely with him, and then my acupuncturist. And so I'm trying to do a lot of that, and just trying to stay in the best shape and health that I can. And fortunately, Christy is a great cook and cooks excellent, very healthy meals all the time. So that helps as well. I mean, I can't even remember the last time it's probably been 12 or 13 years since I hit a fast food restaurant.
That's unreal.
I love that.
That's so cool.
Well, it's just so funny to hear you talk about all these things, because I do think of like the first time we met, like that first retreat, and you were like, I'm just here because DJ said to, and I really like you guys, so I'm here. And right. So now to hear like that guy that was like, I don't even know what mindset means, to like, I'm all into this, everything kinesiology, everything has a vibration, everything's a frequency. We can heal our bodies from the inside out. Like, that is amazing. Like if listeners, if you're listening to this, just know like anything is possible. And Shawn is someone that is so persistent and so determined and has such belief in himself always that, I mean, to be able to get through these things that people, they suffer their whole lives
yeah.
through. I mean, it's so inspiring. If he can do it, I promise you guys, anyone can do it because, and he's the perfect example of it. He's really is. It's a miracle to me.
Well, thanks. When I went back to my doctor, he was like, you have 10 foods that you can't have. You didn't have to do them all at once, because I was probably pretty unhealthy for the first 30 days. I lost like 20 pounds and dropped down to nothing. And so then I was like, hey, man, you said I can't eat these things. I'm not eating them.
Yeah.
I think I have something pretty strong willpower. So I'm like, and the very first day that I didn't have any of those 10 items was the first day in the longest time I can ever remember that I actually ate a meal and didn't have to go to the bathroom. Wow. So I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. I'm just going to stay away from this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. When you get that quicker results from just listening and interpreting. And I do
it's the emotional event.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's an emotional event. So you have something happen to you, and the emotional event was being sick for so long. It's like, you need to change it. And so that, I think, was quick for me. It's like, okay, I had an emotional event. This wasn't working for me, and I could make that change right away. Some of the other ones that are deep down are just taking a little bit longer.
Yes. So what about in the business? When I met you, you had a successful business. You have a lot of processes. What difference have you seen in the business from you thinking different thoughts?
Yeah, because I mean, the way you attacked your food allergies is how I actually see you attack most things, right? Like if you say do this, I'm going to do it. If you say don't do this, I'm not going to do it. And so you let that, how you show up one way is how you show up for everything. And so I want to hear how that is affecting. I mean, we see it, but I want to hear how that's affecting your business, your personal life. Like I want to hear it on all areas.
Yeah, so business has been, ever since we've really dove into the financials and we've held each other accountable, has been a totally different, my mind is set with a different number in the month. As far as when I first started this, it was acceptable to be a 1 or a 2% net. And now, 20% is my new number. And if I don't get 20%, I'm not that I failed, because I know it's not failed, but I need to work. I need to do better, and I need to figure out how I can get to that number, because once you get that goal, and me getting I've sort of changed my goal. Like, I don't have a specific house on Pebble, but it's Christy and I, my true soulmate, can travel to any golf location anytime we want in our private jet service. And that's just so I can go anywhere, anytime. And so now, in order to do that, I need to make sure that we have a little bit more, saved. And plus, we're traveling a lot and, spend time and money doing stuff like that. So we're not trying to cut back on anything. If anything, we're traveling more than we've ever traveled now. And I've got people in place that, I'm not micromanaging. And that was probably one of my knowing doings, is I needed to get out of the business and not be in the everyday to day, even though I'm here every day with the exception of Friday. So that was probably a big one for me too, knowing that, let the people that you've brought on and are paying to run the business, let them run the business. And that's another change that I've had here in the last couple of years.
On that one, Shawn, because this one's one of my favorites. You used to go in every Friday, and you used to do a lot of customer callbacks on Fridays yourself, right? You want to talk about that? Because one, that's what makes you a great leader, is you're willing to do whatever it takes. And you were spending your Fridays calling back customers with scheduling, right? The delayed customers, and they were set. Yeah. Talk about that for a second.
One of my key guys, we had some issues where, just like with everybody, that we ran into some delays with manufacturers and things. So, we had 150 people in the pipeline. So was the Friday afternoon was the best time to kind of reach out between 5 and 9 in the evening to get yelled at. by the customers, because you had to give them the bad news that we weren't going to be there next week or the month later. So I never wanted anybody else to take that beating. So I said, well, I'm going to be the one that takes that beating. I mean, I get the rewards. I need to pay this price. And so I had one other guy with me, and we did that for a while. And then once we got caught up and I brought a couple more people on that could, I hired somebody that was a very nice, warm voice that was able to talk to the customers, and nobody probably yells at her as much as maybe me and Mark. So um, now Fridays, it's funny, I actually work harder on Fridays than I do Monday through Thursday, it seems. But yeah, I'm always like, I hit my acupuncture, I go to go to the doctor, I make sure I'm hitting doing my lesson and doing all that. I spend about between an hour and an hour and a half every day making sure that I'm Brother David, doing the inner blueprint, each module. I'm doing um, a new day. Then I listen to, whether it be Beyond the Hammer. I'm listening to a book now called No Ego, so I listen to a couple of those chapters, and then so that's kind of my Friday, and then I go out and play golf in the afternoon with my wife and some friends, and so that's yeah. So I don't go in the office on Fridays anymore, and the next step will probably be one more day a week. I get out of the office.
So that,
I vote Monday so you can vacation longer and
Yeah, yeah.
no, but I love that. I mean, literally just closing the gaps between knowing and doing. Um, yeah, it's so cool. What else? Anything else that you've seen benefited to? I mean, we talked about net profit. We talked about Fridays. We talked about your health and wellness. I mean, one thing actually I just want to point out to listeners, and I don't know when it'll drop, but we just recorded an episode of me and Kaitlyn, and it was actually DJ suggested it, Shawn. He called me last week and he said, you need to do an episode about not stopping to do the work. And he literally shared that on his ski trip. He skipped a couple days and he went
really
right back
sick.
to some bad thoughts. He's like, it was only a couple of days and I was sick and I had every excuse not to. And he's like, just remind people that you can't take a day off. And I love that we get on with you and you're like, I'm going to do this shit for the rest of my life, right? Because you can't, like, mindset is a lifestyle. Like, if you're working on it, you're going to do it every day for the rest of your life to lead a better life, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Like if I go on vacation, well, when I go on vacation, it seems like that I don't do it as often as I should. And it's, yeah, it's like it's like when I don't go to the gym and you feel it. But it's just like anything. I mean, if I didn't brush my teeth in the morning, I'd say, hey, I didn't brush my teeth in the morning, and that doesn't happen. So now it's like, yeah, every day I have to go behind my door and do my meditation and listen to that, and that gets my day started.
Yeah.
So
This is
yeah,
why I
like I'll
love
never
Shawn.
not do it.
Well, and for listeners too, you explained to me. So, what do you do when you get to the office? What's your routine? Because some people do their mindset at their house before they leave, but you do yours a little bit different. You wait till you get to the office and do it first thing when you get there, right?
Yeah, so I listen, like, depending on how my day is. I mean, of course, I'm painfully positive like you, Shawn, but I
Yeah.
wake up and I'm grateful for everything. I love my life, but I listen. If I'm not listening to some kind of heavy metal, I'll listen to one of my books on the way in, and then when I get in the office, I make sure I walk through the office, whether it be, sales, reception, anybody. I make sure I walk through the whole office, just say good morning, say hi to everybody. If it's a Monday, I'll know somebody did something over the weekend. So I guess I do a little chat real quick with everybody in the office. And then I just have a little like pocket sliding door thing. So I slide it closed. I say, hey, I'm going into my lesson. I'm doing my stuff. And that's usually between 7:30 and 8, and I start with either New Day or Brother David. I'm still listening to both of those. I mean, I've been listening to Brother David for 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, and New Day I listen every day. And it's weird. I started like with my eyes closed, and then I did my eyes open, and because I like seeing the videos of
Yeah.
you guys like walking around and stuff. So I'm like, am I supposed to close my eyes? So like I've been trying to like close my eyes and meditate and be in the receiving mode and hold my hands out. And then I listen to the module of the week, and then I listen to my like whatever book on Audible, and then I go through my goal and my I am statements, which I actually have tweaked a couple this time and added I am smart and I am vulnerable, because I think those are ones that I need to add to my, so I did. And affectionate's in there. I said to Christy, I read off my I ams, and I said I need to work on being affectionate and being emotional. And she's like, "You're affectionate," and I'm like, I mean, I might be, but I think I could always do better, you know. And that's one thing I take away from this too, is the trifecta part of it is really working on my relationships for me and with Christy. I needed to do a better job being present and being there for her, and now our relationship has never been better.
Oh.
I mean, all three parts of my life are as good as they've been, even though I know they're going to get better, and they get better every day.
This is just the beginning. That's what we always say, right?
And in case somebody's tuning in for the first time, we talk about it on almost every episode, but we work on mindset on the trifecta. And that's 3 areas of life: better finances, better health and wellness, and better relationship with self. And as Shawn just mentioned, and he's living proof that when you focus on those 3 areas, and again, we can't always create balance in those areas, but we can create harmony. He's making more money than he ever has. He's in a healthier body than he's ever had. And his relationship, specifically with his wife, is better. I mean,
And with himself.
how does it get better than that? I mean, literally, when you have those 3 areas working, pretty much everything in your life is working pretty good. Wouldn't you agree, Shawn?
Yes, I'm very, very grateful. It's funny, I think I told you guys this story, but I said that to one of my sales guys here, and I'm like, "Hey, so how does it get better?" And he's like, "It doesn't get any better." I'm like, "No, man, you got to rethink that. It definitely gets better. It gets better every single time. It can always get better. Not that it's bad, it's great, but it's always can get better." And his mind was like, you know.
I love throwing that at somebody that doesn't expect it or know what we're talking about. If somebody shares a big win and I say, "Man, how does it get better?" They're literally kind of like you just described. Like, what do you mean?
It doesn't.
I just told you how good it is. It's like, I know, but then you're going to look for the next challenge because you're not going to think it can get better. And then somehow you're going to create a challenge for yourself. So I love how you've embraced that. What about, I just want to hear this, Shawn, because you've embraced so many of our principles in our blueprint. But what about E plus R equals O? How's that affected you? And
Oh man, yeah. Not only do I wear your band every day, but I have it up on my wall. So when people walk in, I don't know, do you see this? Yep. Can you see it?
There it is.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, it's not like I have a tattoo or anything, but you never know.
Yes.
But yeah, just every day somebody walks in and they kind of look at that. So then that just gives me a great opportunity to as Reddy Huff would say, drip it on them. And I just let them know that that's what it's about. And you plan your, just every single time something happens to you, you got to think about the way you're going to react. And I guarantee however you react, that's going to be the outcome.
100%. For those of you who haven't heard it, listeners, E plus R equals O. E stands for the events. The R is how you either react or respond. And if you react in a negative way, you create a negative outcome. And if you respond towards a positive, you're going to get a better outcome. And it's funny, Shawn, because you say tattoo. So Shawn, his business partner, DJ, has it tattooed on his wrist. And his accountability partner, Jason Quillman, now has it tattooed on his forearm. So I don't know. There might be a tattoo in your future, Shawn. Who knows?
I think there is. But
yeah,
you know what?
I don't know if it's E plus R equals O, though. It's going to be something mindset for sure.
There we go. I like it.
Definitely.
That's one thing I wanted to hit on, though, is accountability partners, because you and Jason Quillman are, I think, one of the greatest examples of accountability partners, and it's why I've kept you together year after year. And usually, people get a new partner after each round, but you guys are like, no, we're staying together. And I please, will you share what your routine is with him, how you've continued to do it, how you make time for each other, and how it's impacted you? Because so many people take it for granted, and you're someone that you never take anything for granted, but especially this.
Yeah, so we have so much in common. We're both really into golf. We're both windows. He's actually like a street bike racer. I've had street bikes my whole life. So just that connection was immediate for he and I. And then I think we both feel the same way, where we text each other every single day in the morning, and we let each other know what we've done as far as our whole routine, and every day that text is coming through. But then we'll even say, "Hey, for me, anybody in the inner blueprint, and more so even like with the Celertis, as tight as that is, anybody that calls me, unless I'm like on the phone, I drop what I'm doing and pick it up. Like Q will text me and go, "Hey man, do you have a minute?" I'm dialing it before the text is even through. It's like, "Hey man, what do you need?" Just because we have that brotherhood,
Oh,
So
I love that.
yeah, so Q and I have been accountability partners for a while now, and so it's really cool to see his success, to go from where he was to having the struggles, and to see where he is now, and now he's the major sponsor of the Puppy Bowl at the Super Bowl. That's just a huge win.
I
So
know. I love it.
So cool.
Well, I do think, Sean, I hope you give yourself some credit because you've been a great accountability partner for him and you've led by example. And
Yes.
he's got to see. And I think a lot of his moves, even going to exclusively Windows, had something to do with his conversations with you at some level, right?
it could have, but yeah, that's where one of my other IMs is I need to be a better receiver and receive it and accept that. Yeah, I just need to hold my hands out and receive it. Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second? Because I know, DJs brings that up all the time. And, he's a good giver, but he hasn't always been the best receiver. What does that mean if for somebody listening that doesn't know what we're talking about? Because all of the powerful men we work with, we all need to be better receivers. What does that mean to you when I say that?
Yeah. So like a good example is we all go out to dinner and we're all wanting to put our, we want to pay the bill. And sometimes it's okay to, like for me, Tyler is a good example. My stepson, when he wants to pay the bill, I'd always be like, no, I'm paying the bill. But I would take that away from him. So I try and receive that more and allow him to give me those, give me that, or give me a kudos or something like that. So I try and do a better job of being open-minded and receive that, what somebody's given me.
Yeah. Well, we always talk about like in manifesting a mindset, you ask for things, but you have to be willing to receive. And sometimes it's receiving from people that you think you're supposed to help out. And I just love that back and forth. And I do love that we have groups where literally people get in fights over who gets to pay the bill because everybody wants to give back to each other. I love that.
Yeah, even when Mark was here just the other day, I just assumed I was buying dinner, and next thing you know, he's picking up the tab, and Christy and I are both going, "What the hell, man? I thought we were buying dinner." So I'm like, "Okay, just receive it. Just shut up and just receive it."
Yeah, yeah. Well, Sean, anything else you wanted him to share? I think, I really wanted you just to share what you have, like how you've used mindset to go from what was really good to great in a lot of areas, your health and wellness, your relationships, and now your money.
I do have one thing I really want you to dive in, because this is a change I've seen in you, Shawn. You said one of your affirmations is, "I am emotional, I am vulnerable." And I know you had things that happened in your past. We don't have to talk about them, but that you kept locked in a box, right? And you had things that you were not able to experience life to the fullest because you were holding so much in. And I've personally seen a change in you where you are much more vulnerable. You're more loving. You're more emotional. You're not scared to show those things anymore because your mental health and mindset is so much healthier now. And I would just love to hear like how you feel that has affected you, because I've personally seen the difference in you. Every time I'm around you, I'm like, sheesh, look at him. It's apparent, like it glows on you.
Yeah, I feel that I've been a little more open about that too. So like, obviously with Celertis, I've never hugged so many people in my life. I never used to be a hugger, but now I'm the best hugger. Actually, Antonio and I hug every day. Make sure it's heart to heart too. So we try and get our 12 in.
That's such a win.
Yeah, so I think like that breath work, kind of having that experience happen to me, that really kind of opened me up, where even when I was there, I was so emotional and saying, I don't want this ever to, I don't want to ever go through this again. I've actually thought about like obviously working on that a little bit more, because the the box in the back of my head is not good sitting back there. So I do need to do a better job. And I have actually talked about it more. I mean, one of my sales guys was talking about something, and we were talking about abuse and stuff like that. So I started getting into it with him, and it was like, wow, that was really easy. I mean, I probably would have never done that 5 years ago, so just
Wow.
telling my story a little more openly.
I love that. And Sean, I know you weren't a hugger, and I think that's one of my biggest wins is Sean Gerathy now likes to hug. And my favorite is when you will text me when we're getting together and you're like, I'm so excited for the hugs. I'm like, yes, winning. Winning. Well, anything else? Because I just want to say thanks for your time as always. Thanks for sharing. And we're going to see you in March here in Salt Lake City. So get ready for some more hugs.
And some more breath work.
Yeah, but we'll just do some more breath work too if
Yes.
you're ready.
Good. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. We appreciate you, Sean. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, Sean, for lighting
Thanks.
up our day.
And
See you guys.
we'll see you, man.
Thank you.
Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride.
All right.
All right.
Love your hat.
Oh, yes. By the way, listeners, I've got my absolute window hat on that Sean sent me, and I was a good receiver. I received it, and now I'm wearing it. And for those of you listening, I just want to say thanks for listening. If you like what you heard today, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share it. Let's get the message out. Just like Sean, we think better thoughts, we get better results, and that's what makes enjoying the ride fun. Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Feurer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride.